Alright, attention! Because today we are decoding the baddest, most disciplined border defending machinery of India, the Indian Armed Forces. If you think military just means guys in camouflage doing push ups and firing rifles in Ladakh, oh honey, sit tight. There's more order, honor, and structure here than your corporate hierarchy. Except here, the stakes are literally life and death. Hi, I'm Abir Lahiri and you're watching an explainer by the Indian Express. Let's break it down. India's defense setup has three main squads: Army, Navy and Air Force. First up, the Indian Army. These are the people on the ground, marching in deserts, climbing icy mountains and chilling, literally in Siachen. If there's a border, they are guarding it. Then comes the Indian Navy. They rule the seas, warships, submarines, beach vibes, but with torpedoes. If it floats, they probably command it. And finally, the Indian Air Force. They own the skies. Fighter jets, missiles, drones. Basically, they are the reason your enemies can't nap in peace. Together, they form the Indian Armed Forces. Technically, they report to the President of India, who's the Supreme Commander. But for the day-to-day stuff, it's the Ministry of Defense calling the shots. And leading the forces, we've got one Chief of Defense Staff, the big boss who makes sure the Army, Navy and Air Force aren't stepping on each other's boot. And then each wing has its own chief. One for Army, one for Navy and one for Air Force. Now let's talk hierarchy, military style. Think of this like your school. There's the principal, the vice principal, the HOD, the class monitor and then the rest of us. In the armed forces, everyone has a rank. It decides how much power and responsibility you carry. They are mostly divided into three categories. First is commissioned officers. These are the decision makers, the captains of the ship, sometimes literally. They lead teams, plan missions and make those big do or die calls. In the army, they start as lieutenant, then rise through captain major all the way up to general. In the navy, sub-lieutenant up to admiral. In the air force, flying officer to air chief marshal. Then comes junior commissioned officers or JCOs. These are the bridge between senior officers and jawans. Think of them as field managers, experienced leaders who command smaller units. They are hands-on and crucial on the ground. Then comes non-commissioned officers and jawans, the real heroes, the soldiers who carry out operations, the boots in the mud. If there's a mission, they are on it. Also, at the very top of each military branch sits a ceremonial rank, not for command, but for honor. These are awarded only in extraordinary wartime circumstances or for exceptional service to the nation. In the army, it's Field Marshal, last held by Sam Manekshaw and K.M. Cariappa. The Navy has Admiral of the Fleet, though it's never been awarded in India. And the Air Force's highest honorary title is Marshal of the Air Force, given only once to Arjun Singh. These ranks are for life, come with full military honors and symbolize the nation's ultimate respect for its legends in uniform. By the way, are you thinking of joining the forces? Awesome, but first, training. And it's no morning jog in the park. For officers, the journey usually starts at the National Defense Academy in Pune. Army, Navy and Air Force cadets train together here like one big military Hogwarts. Post-NDA, cadets move to specialized academies: Indian Military Academy in Dehradun for Army, Indian Naval Academy for Navy, Air Force Academy for the Skies, Officer Training Academy for short service entries. Now for elite forces like Para SF, Marcos or Garud, their training is something else. Zero sleep, brutal drills, psychological pressure. It's all about pushing past the limits you didn't even know existed. Because out there are no retakes. Now, since you know so much about the armed forces, let's talk about allied forces. Here's where many get confused. These aren't part of the armed forces, but are Central Armed Police Forces under the Ministry of Home Affairs. Still, they face bullets, frostbite and firefights, just like anyone in uniform. CRPF, Central Reserve Police Force, handles internal security, Naxal regions, riot control. It's India's largest paramilitary force. BSF, Border Security Force, guards border with Pakistan and Bangladesh, has its own air wing, water wing and artillery. ITBP, Indo-Tibetan Border Police, protects the icy Himalayan frontiers with China. CISF, Central Industrial Security Force, guards critical infrastructure, airports, metros, nuclear plants. SSB, Sashastra Seema Bal, secures borders with Nepal and Bhutan, also handles intelligence and anti-smuggling. Then comes NSG, National Security Guard, the Black Cats, elite counter-terrorism commandos, the last resort in a national crisis. By the way, to join allied forces, aspirants go through a separate recruitment process, often via the CRPF exam, which is Central Armed Police Forces exam, conducted by UPSC. It's competitive, includes written tests, physical fitness, and interviews, and it opens door to becoming an assistant commandant, Group A officer in these forces. Now let's talk about India's real-life Avengers, the Special Forces. These are the ones who do missions so covert, even classified doesn't cover it. Para SF, behind surgical strikes and cross-border operations. Marcos, Marine Commandos, trained for land, sea and air operations. Garud, experts in air-based protection, high-risk rescue operations and special missions. By the way, a quick fun fact about all these special units. These units are volunteer-based and selection brutal. Think broken bodies, tested minds and no mercy. Only the strongest make it through. Military life comes with a unique set of rewards. You get a decent pay, free rations, medical care, subsidized housing, and a pension after retirement. But the true rewards? Respect, discipline, brotherhood. Of course, there are tough parts, constant transfers, difficult terrain, and the time away from family. But for most, it's never just a job. It's a calling. The Indian Armed Forces aren't a boys' club anymore. Women are rewriting the rules. They are flying fighter jets, guarding borders, leading troops, and proving daily that courage has no gender. The army now offers permanent commissions to women officers, a landmark step in leadership and equality. This isn't just about inclusion, it's about transformation. When women wear the uniform, they don't just serve the nation, they change it. So, the next time someone asks, why do you want to join the Indian Armed Forces? Just show them this explainer. Because the military isn't just guns and uniforms, it's a code, a lifestyle, a bond. From the heights of Siachen to the jungles of Manipur, from naval decks to Air Force runways, these are the people who make sure you can sleep, scroll, and stream in peace. That's a wrap on this episode of Explainer by the Indian Express. Got something you want decoded next? Drop it in the comments. I'm Abir Lairi signing off. Catch you next time. Ta-da!